associations for all members of Trent. For example, the view is sometimes that your events are Indigenous students only. However, that's not the case. So how do you plan on increasing, again, the presence of Indigenous students associations for all members of Trent? Carly, you have 2 minutes.
Alright, so I guess like a really important thing would be advertising these things, like posters, Facebook groups and stuff. Promoting like awareness around what these events are about, so people don't think they're exclusively for Aboriginal students, so that anybody at Trent thinks they can go. What else do I have to say about that? I think that it's really important that just like increasing the awareness that all these events are for everyone and not just Indigenous specific things. So maybe hosting workshops to educate the Trent community on what these things are about, so they'll feel more welcome in these things.
You don't have to take up your full 2 minutes.
Okay.
So are you comfortable with your answer? So, Bobby, I'm going to pose the same question to you, and I think I can speak loud enough without going to the mic. How will you increase the presence of Indigenous Students Associations for all members of Trent? For example, the view is sometimes that your events are for Indigenous students only, which is not the case. Oh, sorry, time.
That's okay. Well, I guess the way you can actually help with this increase the involvement of other students in the university. One would be also like in advertising, posting like posters as well throughout like residence, because a lot of first-year students can go see it. And like for instance, last year we had the powwow at the Champlain College where students never knew that they could come there. So if you were just to like, if it's on campus, a majority of the campus is non-Aboriginal, you could promote that as well. If you were to reach out towards other groups by being like, I could reach out to like other associations, not just our Indigenous associations as well, like all the associations and student groups that are across campus. We can inform them. Word of mouth would be another strategy toward promoting it, like rather than just making announcements within Indigenous studies courses. I could reach out towards other classrooms like businesses, geography, psychology, just because that's where the majority of the population is educated, and everybody's in Indigenous studies. So I would find that would be a strategy toward that. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Carly, you have 30 seconds to rebuttal Bobby's answers.
So you talked about wanting to like incorporate other student groups in all the events to get like, the awareness and stuff out, and how would you do that?
Bobby, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Well, a way to do that is just, if they have any questions, just highly encourage people to ask questions. If you need to, just state that you have questions. If anyone has questions, please do not be afraid to ask. Or even have like a page, a Facebook page, or something using a social network where it can be like an open group thing where if any questions are needed, they can ask questions to whoever's in control of that. As well, just encourage people to continue asking questions even after the session. Just encourage questions.
Thank you. So you now have 30 seconds to respond to any of the comments that Carly made in her initial answer.
You stated having workshops. What type of workshops would you want to be promoting?
Well, maybe like you talked about the powwow and stuff. So like a lot of students didn't think they could go to the powwow, non-Indigenous students, because they weren't aware of stuff. So maybe having like a little workshop or even just like a booth set up somewhere to share information about the powwow, or when we do social dances and stuff like that, so people understand what it's going on and what the meaning of these things are, so they feel like they can be comfortable going to all these things.
Great, thank you both. Do we have any questions for these candidates from the audience? Yes?
I think one of the issues is not so much about complexity and advertising, but students are not interested in going into, for example, an event about Indigenous issues. How would you increase student interest?
We'll start with Carly, 30 seconds.
How to increase student interest in like Indigenous events and stuff? Well, I think they're pretty interesting, but I guess maybe just wording and educating them on what it's about, because when you actually like really understand what these things are about, you see that they actually are like a pretty fun thing to attend, I guess.
Bobby?
A way to like integrate like students who are not interested in it is just you can well, there's the instance of just ignoring them, but there's also a better alternative to that solution of just if they need information like the elders gathering. It's like it's a very like a lot of Indigenous, you know, just kind of like have just a one-on-one discussion if they're interested or not. Like you can't change people for who they are, so I'm not saying that you shouldn't ignore them in general. Just be respectful of their choices and just promote like it's a fun thing.
If you guys can stay there for a moment, I forgot to mention earlier, we have 2 questions for each of the equity commissioner candidates, and then for the vice president or the president candidates, they have 3 questions for myself. So are there any other questions from the audience before we move on to our second question? No? Okay. So the second question for you guys is, and you might have answered part of it already, but try to maybe elaborate. How do you plan on implementing campus-wide awareness that promotes Aboriginal issues? So this time we're going to start with Bobby. You have hang on a second. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond. Okay.
A way to like go in depth of situations is just, well, like I said, just have smaller workshop as well, like, because there's instances where you can have a lead up where if you like to have, they normally have the visuals every year for the missing and murdered Aboriginal women across Canada, and it's usually on Valentine's Day in February. So even just having like smaller workshops with people who are in the field, just doing that, as well as just like offering smaller workshops, and then even like pamphlets if you want to hand those out to people, just in general, just like even like little like buttons as well. If they want information, you can offer your assistance, and if you want to have more questions, go from there. And if they want to ask more, they're pleased and welcome to. And just also like encourage like it's just promote like the workshops in general, just like even like I said, the smaller workshops, because if they're maybe too afraid to go to a larger awareness, so have like smaller leading events that would trigger and make people more comfortable to the situation.
Thank you. Carly, you have 2 minutes to respond to the question. Do you need me to read it again?
I think I'm okay. Wait, actually, can you read it again?
Yeah, no problem. How do you plan on implementing campus-wide awareness that promotes Aboriginal issues?
Okay, so I would want to do like an Aboriginal Awareness Week where a lot of Aboriginal issues are brought to light on what's going on. Like Bobby said, missing and murdered Aboriginal women, and we do like the water walk and the elders gathering and stuff that's going on with like Line 9 and stuff. I would want to bring that forward all in like an Aboriginal Awareness Week to share that information with everybody, to see what they wanted to do. I would also want to reach out to the community, like the Friendship Center No-Go or Niche Koinjada, to help with information to share with the Trent community.
So we'll go with Bobby first this time. You have 30 seconds to respond, to rebuttal or question Carly's comments, if you have anything. Oh, sorry.
You mentioned Aboriginal Awareness Week. Isn't that a little situation where you're trying to get people involved in Indigenous issues? What if they're just saying it's an Aboriginal Awareness Week and they're still not feeling the grass to want to attend Awareness Week?
Well, maybe then you would do smaller workshops based on what people were interested in and try to get them interested in more of the other things that maybe they weren't as interested in. Just kind of promote the fact that Aboriginal issues aren't specific to Aboriginal people. They can affect everyone else too, so it's kind of a community thing.
Carly, you have 30 seconds to rebut Bobby's statement.
So Bobby, you said that you would want to make people comfortable going to these events and stuff. How would you do that?
Well, like anything else, I guess you can just one-on-one conversations and comforting, like to want to come to the workshops. Just keep allowing encouragement. Like you can't. Encouragement's one of the nicest things you can do for people. If they're too afraid to want to go into workshops, just encourage them. Like it's for historical reasons and better for the community. Just promote like have a good mind aspect, which I will go in maybe another time.